sometimes curriculum just doesn't work out for whatever reason, and that's okay. And so that's what this video is about. I want to chat a little bit about this past year and the curriculum that just wasn't the right fit for my family. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you have been coming for a while. And so like I said, I'm going to be sharing in this video the curriculum that really did not work this past year for my kindergartner and my first grader. And more importantly, I'm going to be sharing why it didn't work, because I find these videos some of the most helpful videos. I do get excited watching all the curriculum videos that are coming out this time of year about what everybody's excited about for next year. And I am making those videos here in about 2 weeks, early June. They are scheduled. I'm starting to film them. I'm very excited. Those are fun, but I think these videos are actually more useful. And so I hope this is useful for you. And of course, there's this disclaimer that just because these curriculums didn't work for my family does not mean they're bad curriculums. Some of them I was so excited to use, and I am so behind the philosophy of the curriculum. It just didn't work, and that's okay. So in preparing for this video, I went back to watch my old curriculum video from the 2020-2021 school year to see kind of what I had planned and to see what did not work. And so I have 5 pieces of curriculum that I'm going to share with you today. And the first one is the one I probably get most asked about at this point, because I made a unboxing video for it, which I'll put up here, and it was so great. I loved the idea of this curriculum. I was so excited. I still am. I still wish it would have worked. It's just kind of one of those that I was for sure this was going to work. I even bought like the whole literature package, and I was like, it's my first child. I'll have it for all 4 kids, which is great. And it just didn't work. So I'm actually just trying to sell it at this point. And like I was talking about in the budgeting video that I put out about a month and a half ago, I tend to move curriculum out after it has not worked. So I actually don't have too many of these to show you. And the only ones I have still are the ones I'm still trying to sell. Anyway, tangent. That was a bit of a tangent. Let me get back on the point of this video, which is to share a bit about why Lightning Literature did not work. Oh, it's such a great program. It is a grammar, lit analysis, and early composition type program. And so I really wanted that as I was leaving Logic of English and going into All About Reading, that this could kind of pick up some of those things that Logic of English was doing. Okay, I did like some things. I loved the books. I mean, I always loved the books. The books were great. My son loved the books. We loved to read them and reread them and talk through the questions. That was no problem. He had no problem with like the lit analysis and discussing the questions, and he was always paying close enough attention to the story. So that section of the curriculum was good. And it really wasn't too much added book reading, which I think is a concern of many people as well as myself. It's like, well, I already do a lot of literature-based programs. And I thought, at least for grade 1, it wasn't a ton of extra reading. And so I felt like it was very manageable to bring on, and it didn't like have excessive books, if that makes sense. But in the end, I think my son just wasn't ready for it. I found myself doing a lot of it for him, especially the composition, especially the writing. We would start talking about certain writing assignments, which the writing assignments I didn't feel like were too over his head. Like he could come up with the ideas and the creativity. He just had like no framework for how to put it all together. And I think that was the problem. Like his creativity was there, but he didn't know how to go from like the creativity of like come up with 3 ideas or 3 things you're gonna tell about in this story. He didn't have problems with that. It was coming up with like, okay, now what do we do with it? And so I'd be like, well, maybe start like this, or he'd say it and I'd be like, maybe that's, that's a tangent, like let's bring that together and bring your other, and I would just guide it so much that I realized when I would read back through it, it was pretty much all my writing. He wasn't doing any of it. He was coming up with the ideas and he was trying to understand what I was asking of him, but I don't think I was doing a very good job guiding that, and he sure wasn't learning anything. I was like, I'm doing his work for him. And so then I just realized, like, let's just go back to kind of what I was originally doing, which was more of kind of the well-trained mind stuff. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in the next video, which is going to be the curriculums that really worked this year as to why that was a better fit. The next curriculum, which I tried, I think for 2 years straight, is Jot It Down by Julie Bogart. I loved the idea of it. I think she is a very inspirational person. I love her podcasts. I just can really get behind how she is trying to make learning more enchanted and magical, and I love that. And I try to bring in those elements by all means. But when it came to the actual program of Jot It Down, which was the writing program for 5 to 8-year-olds, I believe, where you do a lot of the writing down, I realized I was kind of doing that anyway for my son. And honestly, what it came down to for me is I wasn't using the program because it wasn't structured enough. And I felt like I had to structure it myself. And I think she actually has come out with like schedules since I bought it. So that issue might have been taken care of, but it just was something I wasn't picking up and I wanted to pass it on to someone who might use it more. So that was Jot It Down. Okay guys, the next one, I didn't even know if I wanted to include this on the list, but I am going to, because it really is a curriculum that just didn't work for us. Logic of English, foundations. It did and it didn't. I feel like this is kind of almost unfair to say that like it didn't work, because foundations A and B were a really good fit for my son. I felt like he learned a bunch. He was really on pace with it. It's just once we hit C, it was a train wreck pretty much. It just went horribly. It went way too fast for him. He wasn't catching on as quick as I think the program is written for. And I, as a parent, wasn't able to figure out how to supplement or slow it down or figure out what I needed to do to help him gain his confidence and to practice the things that we were doing. And so it was a both and. It was on one hand, the curriculum wasn't quite a good fit for his speed of learning to read. And on the other hand, I wasn't able to use the curriculum in a way that could have helped him more. And so I think it was a both and. I just couldn't get it to work. And so we made the switch to All About Reading, which I actually detail quite a bit in the video from the beginning of the year when I talk about a big homeschool change, which really was our switch from Logic of English to All About Reading. There was a couple draws for Logic of English for me. One, it had a lot of games and like active things for kids, especially boys. I thought that was great, and that was actually really helpful for him during Foundations A and B. The other draw was that it was a kind of all-inclusive language arts program. So I was like, oh, you can kind of get everything you need all at once. The problem was that he really needed the most help with reading. And when it all comes down to it, I feel like at that age, reading is probably more important than some other things. Although handwriting is very important too, but like you'll see in kind of my next week's video when I talk about our favorite handwriting program, I had switched early out of what Logic of English was doing into this program that I just love, love, love. And I'm so happy we did that. And so I was really not even using it for the handwriting, and the reading just wasn't going well. And so in the end, I was like, the other stuff, it's not gravy, like spelling is important, but he needs to learn how to read. And so that was really part of what kind of drove the change, if that makes sense. I hope that all makes sense, because I don't want to slam Logic of English. I think it is a really good program. It just wasn't right for him, where he just needed more. So upon watching my old video, I remembered that we started out the summer with elemental science, biology for the grammar stage, and it didn't work. And I actually have a whole video about that. We pretty much only made it through the plants section last summer before I realized this was not a good fit for my kids. And there was a couple reasons why. One, I feel like the spine for the plant section was just a bit much. As I was reading it, they would glaze over. Then I would try and paraphrase it, and they were still like, what? None of the information was connecting very well for them. It was probably a bit of their ages, or they also needed more practice with stuff like this, but it just wasn't a good fit for us. And there was also times we were doing kind of more busy work, so it was like notebooking or lap booking, and I feel like I was trying to eke out these answers from them, and they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. Like, I can't narrate that back because I don't even understand your question, nor do I have like the words to put it in a sentence. So they were just like, it felt like they were just completely missing it. And I was like, they're really young. I feel like science should be exposure driven, delight driven, all of those things in the elementary year. I did so many things for science this year, but that program really didn't work for us. And the last program that didn't work for us, I actually still have. I haven't posted this to sell yet. I just need to get on it. It's part of my summer to-do list, but it's Laying Down the Rails. And this is a Simply Charlotte Mason program. I picked it up a couple years ago. I really like the idea of habit training and character development and things like that. But as I got into using the program, I was having a tough time teaching it, I think was the problem. When I was like looking through the different days, there would be a Bible story or something, and I would read it and be like, I can kind of see how that has to do with generosity or whatever the habit was, but I couldn't like put it together well enough for my kids to really grasp it at the 6 and 7-year-old level that they are. They would just have the deer in the headlights look where they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Mom. And the problem with that is they weren't able to kind of bring in any of the context of the Bible stories, and I wasn't doing a very good job of teaching it. I felt frustrated with myself and the program, and I feel like they were just inattentive or bored, and that really wasn't helping me kind of drive this habit forming, if you will. And like I said in a character curriculum review I did, I think this is designed for older kids. I think it probably would have worked better for older kids, but we have since found some really good stuff that I really like, and so we're just going to move forward with that and hopefully pass this on to somebody who can use it more. So those are the curriculum from the past year, 2020, 2021, that didn't work. And again, these could work fantastic for you. These could be on your most favorite curriculum lists, and that's wonderful. And because some of these programs are really wonderful, and I hope they work for your family. They just didn't work for us. And those are some of the reasons why. And if you have more questions about those 5 programs that I just shared, below, let me know, and I can answer more questions about that. But I would also love to hear from you. What is something that you just thought was going to be amazing, like the best curriculum out there, and it just didn't work? Also share a little bit about why. I feel like that's just as helpful. So anyway, that is what I have for this video. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And again, next week I will be sharing my favorite curriculums from this year, and then the week after is curriculum week. So be sure to stick around, lots of exciting things coming. And so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in those videos. All right, take care.